Good afternoon and welcome to Rapid TV News at noon. My name is Ugochukwu Madmere. In the headlines this afternoon, President Tinubu returns after Europe trip. NLC rejects planned cybersecurity levy. Federal government rules global investors for 17 oil blocks. Israel launches fresh Gaza strikes. 150,000 people expected as Olympic flame arrives France. Details of these and more will come to you in the bulletin right after now. Stay with us. The news in detail. President Bola Tinubu and his aides have returned to Nigeria from Europe today. Special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who announced the development in a post on his X handle today, welcomed the President into the country. President Tinubu had traveled for a meeting with the Dutch Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, over 2 weeks ago, from where he took a trip to Saudi Arabia to attend the Special World Economic Forum, WEF. He subsequently traveled to Europe after the summit. On April 22nd, the president left Abuja for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. The presidential spokesperson, Ajurin Galale, said he was visiting the Netherlands at the invitation of Prime Minister Mark Rutte. After the engagements in the Netherlands, President Tinubu proceeded to Saudi Arabia to attend the special WEF meeting between April 28th and 29th. He was expected back in the country after the forum in Saudi Arabia, but he did not return, fueling speculations about his whereabouts. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has described the planned cybersecurity levy introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) on all electronic transactions as another burden on Nigerians. According to a circular issued to various financial institutions, including commercial, merchant, non-interest and payment service banks, the Apex Bank indicated that the levy would come into effect in 2 weeks from May 6. The levy's introduction has sparked widespread criticism among Nigerians and civil society organizations. Rejecting the policy, the NLC president, Joe Ajaero, said such deductions directly affect the disposable income of workers and further diminish the purchasing power of the common citizens. He said the directive is another gang up by the ruling elite to continue its extortion and exploitation of helpless workers and the masses. Abia State Governor Alex Otti launches the reconstruction of the 3.5 kilometers Osisioma-Ekapara Road today, Wednesday. The road is a major gateway into the Osisioma Industrial Complex. Commissioner for Information and Culture, Prince Okekano, who stated this while briefing journalists on the outcome of this week's Executive Council meeting, presided over by Governor Alex Otti, said the road equally leads to the NNPC depot, Osisioma. The report.
Let me start by informing us that His Excellency Dr. Alex Otti OFR will be flagging off the 3.5 kilometer Osisioma-Ekapara Road at Aba on Wednesday this week. That road is a very important one because it's one of the infrastructural facilities that will drive the Osisioma Industrial Complex, which the state government has started rebuilding. The Director General of NAFDAC is due to visit the state on the 15th of May 2024. It's an official visit. And as is customary during the visit, the DG will pay a walking visit to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Abia State. And more importantly, she will meet with stakeholders in the micro, small and medium enterprises sector, particularly those that are involved in food, health supplements, and the production of various medications. there's this drive towards ensuring that there's compliance with student standards in all those fields, to ensure that those who produce the things that people consume stick to certain standards.
The Persons with Disabilities Community of Practice organized a two-day stakeholders forum in Abuja. The forum, themed Unlocking the Potentials, Mainstreaming Disability Inclusion, aimed to change societal perceptions of and address issues faced by people with disabilities. It created a platform for stakeholders to raise awareness and advocate for change. Our correspondent Irene Okechukwu now reports.
Persons with Disabilities Community of Practice organizes a two-day stakeholders forum in Abuja with the aim of changing the narrative of how the society looks and addresses those with disabilities. The two-day forum with the theme Unlocking the Potentials, Mainstreaming Disability Inclusion is also an avenue for stakeholders to sensitize and advocate for change, with a representative of the Executive Secretary on National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Patience Ogolo Dixon, stating that the Commission is mandated to increase knowledge, advocate for better policies, and collaborate with other agencies to remove all barriers that may exclude persons with disabilities.
So the Commission is mandated, we all know, to increase knowledge, participation of persons with disability, and also to advocate for better policies, and also a kind of a government agency to also collaborate with other government agencies as well, so that our issues will be in the front burner in other agencies more than even in our own commission. So what are we saying? We need to collaborate together, and thank God that we are doing this.
The leader on Voice Persons with Disability Community of Practice and keynote speaker, Ajara Favor, noted that persons with disabilities are total parts of any society and that they are entitled to all the fundamental human rights available to non-disabled persons, including the right to decent work, education, health, transportation, inclusive environment, decision-making, religion, and tradition. She, however, encouraged everyone to learn sign language in order to communicate and avoid using derogatory languages on persons with disabilities.
It's mainly for the inclusion and accessibility of persons with disability in Nigeria. So basically, you know that the exclusion of persons with disability is so obvious in this country that most of us are being stigmatized. We are being excluded from programs and activities. So this workshop is going to throw more light to stakeholders and right holders that persons with disabilities has every fundamental right like every other person without disability. So basically what this workshop is all about is to educate the stakeholders and the general public to know that persons with disabilities also have their own individual and unique ability to contribute positively to the society.
From Abuja, Irene Okechukwu, Rapid TV News.
The federal government has directed Michael Obra University of Agriculture, Umudike in Abia State, to resume academic activities immediately. The decision follows interventions by stakeholders. Our correspondent, Onwoka Kinsley, has more details in this report.
University of Agriculture, Umudike, which was closed by the school management in the aftermath of the student protest in the month of February, have been reopened. In an exclusive chat with Rapid TV, the university registrar Nkiruka Mbanaso disclosed that the federal government decided to reopen the university on 19th May 2024. Mbanaso appealed to the students to make all necessary payments before resuming their school activities.
Federal government has approved that we should reopen the university, and we've started the process. The federal government has approved reparation fee of 25,000 naira per student, and it's a prerequisite for their coming back. If it is not paid, you should not come back as a student. So it's not between the student and the university. So it is expected that every student must pay that reparation fee of 25,000 naira. Already we have sent out the letter announcing the reopening date for students to come in. That should be 19th of May 2024.
She revealed that the examination will start on May 27, while urging students to go for their biocapture before accessing the examination hall.
Those who have taken will not need to retake, but those who have not taken, there will be provision for them. Earlier on, it was stated that those who had not completed their registration, you will not take the exam without completion of registration. But do the right thing, complete the registration, and you'll be given the opportunity to write all your exams.
With the development of the reopening of the university, business communities express mixed feeling while narrating how the shutdown have affected their business activities.
School is about to resume. If school resumes, wow, sales will be going front, back, left and right.
When I heard that the management have reopened the school, I was very glad and happy about the students to come into the university. And the 3 months handcuff our business, draw the thing down, and there is no business inside the university since that 3 months.
For me, it's a thing of joy that school has resumed. Not that it was only affecting us as the business owners here, but also affecting some of our siblings that have been at home for some time.
From Umuahia, Onwuka Kingsley, Rapid TV News.
On Rapid TV News this afternoon, federal government rules global investors for 17 oil blocks. Israel launches fresh Gaza strikes. 150,000 people expected as Olympic flame arrives France. Stand by for these and more after the break.
Of course, I enjoy watching local leagues in Nigeria, especially the MPFL.
The shot, and it's a strike! What a goal for Lagos!
I am a StarTimes user. Of course, I'm happy whenever StarTimes adds new exciting channels for my family and I to enjoy.
Get ready for entertainment extravaganza with StarTimes. Dive into the world of Afrobeats in Naija Star Search Season 2. Airing on ST Nollywood Plus at 8 p.m. and ST Nollywood Epic at 7 p.m. every Saturday. Enjoy the thrill of sports in HD with the MPFL, Bundesliga, Saudi League, Copa del Rey, and Coppa Italia. Treat your kids to exciting adventures and learning on channels like Toonami, CBD, Jim Jam, Boing, DaVinci Learning, ST Kids, Baby TV, ST Tunes, Cartoon, and more. StarTimes. Entertain your family.
Thanks for being there. Now the rest of the news. The federal government on Tuesday offered 12 oil blocks and 5 deep offshore assets for sale as it marketed the assets to global oil sector investors at the ongoing 2024 Offshore Technology Conference in Houston, United States. Speaking at the African Oil Industry Opportunities Session, a side event at the 2024 Offshore Technology Conference, the Chief Executive, Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, Gbenga Komolafe, told investors at the gathering that Nigeria has 37.5 billion barrels of crude oil and condensate reserves and 209.26 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves. This, he said, represents above 30% and 33% respectively of the entire oil and gas reserves in Africa, aside from an abundant mix of other renewable energy sources. Komolafe said each block had been chosen for its potential to bolster the country's reserves and stimulate economic vitality. He told his listeners that the NUPRC, on behalf of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, was committed to conducting the licensing round in a fair, competitive, and transparent manner. On the foreign scene, Israel struck targets in the Gaza Strip on Wednesday after seizing the main border crossing with Egypt, where negotiators were working to make good on their last chance to cement a ceasefire deal. After weeks of vowing to launch a ground incursion into the border city of Rafah, despite international objections, Israeli tanks moved in Tuesday, capturing the crossing that has served as the main conduit for aid into the besieged Palestinian territory. The push into the southern city, which is packed with displaced civilians, came as negotiators and mediators met in Cairo to try and hammer out a hostage release deal and truce in the 7-month war between Israel and the militant group Hamas. Meanwhile, the United States has paused a shipment of bombs to Israel over fears it would invade the southern Gaza city of Rafah, marking the first time in the conflict that President Joe Biden has squeezed military aid to the key U.S. ally. Washington halted the load of the bombs after Israel had not fully addressed U.S. concerns about a major ground operation, a senior administration official said. News of the move comes as the White House blasted the unacceptable closure of the Rafah border crossing with Egypt after Israel sent tanks in earlier Tuesday while holding out hope for a ceasefire with Hamas. The pausing of weapons marks the first time that Biden has acted on the warning that he gave Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in April that U.S. policy on Gaza would depend on how Israel treated civilians. 3 children are among 4 people reported missing after a 5-story apartment block collapsed in the Kenyan capital on Tuesday night, a local official said. Nairobi Disaster Management Chief Officer Bramwell Simiyu said the cause of the accident in the Uthiru, a settlement that lies to the northwest of the city center, is not known. He said the 4 missing persons include a nanny and 2 children from one household, as well as a 10-year-old girl from another residence, adding that detailed investigations would begin today. The Kenya Red Cross, which sent emergency teams to the site, said 10 people had suffered minor injuries. The Nairobi area is one of the zones hardest hit by torrential rains and floods that have caused havoc across the country, claiming the lives of around 230 people and displacing more than 200,000. In sports, US-based Nigerian coach Michael Nsien has rejected an offer from the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) to serve as an assistant to new Super Eagles coach George Finidi following contractual disagreement between both parties. Nsien, who is the current coach of the US Under-19 team, also applied for the Eagles coaching job. However, after Federation officials chose Finidi as the man for the job, they offered Nsien the assistant coach role. It was learned that the NFF offered to pay Nsien per match rather than handing him a full contract, which the American Nigerian snubbed. Nigeria's Aruna Quadri will face off with South Korea's Cho Dae-sung in the men's singles round of 16 of the World Table Tennis Saudi Smash 2024 taking place in Jeddah. The Nigerian once again showed character as he came from behind to edge Lee Sang-soo of South Korea in a round of 32 slugfest at King Abdullah Sports City Infinity Arena on Monday morning. The nail-biting win set up the potentially scintillating clash with the 21-year-old world number 45, who will be looking to avenge the defeat of his compatriot. Aruna made a flying start to his Saudi Smash campaign by coming from behind to beat Sharat Kamal Achanta, who won 2 singles titles at the IWTF Pro Tour, the first in 2010, and reached the semi-finals in the men's singles event at the 2017 World Championships. The $2 million prize money Saudi Smash 2024 is the 6th tournament of the WTT Series 2024. It started May 1st and will run through May 11 in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The Olympic flame arrives in France today, where a highly choreographed ceremony and a crowd of 150,000 people will be a first major test for organizers and security forces ahead of the 2024 Paris Games. The transfer of the flame onshore in the southern port of Marseille will mark the start of a 12,000-kilometer torch relay across mainland France and the country's far-flung overseas territories. Organizers are hoping the first public spectacle of the much-hyped iconic Olympics, just 79 days away, will help build excitement after a damaging row about ticket prices and ongoing security concerns. When the Paris opening ceremony begins on the 26th of July, it will be the first time the city has played host for a century after previous editions in 1924 and 1900. And that concludes details of Rapid TV News at noon. Before we go, here's a recap of the major stories. President Tinubu returns after Europe trip. NLC rejects planned cybersecurity levy. Federal government woos global investors for 17 oil blocks. Israel launches fresh Gaza strikes, as well as 150,000 people expected as Olympic flame arrives France today. And that's the size of our package. My name is Ugochukwu Madumere. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.